What do you think about the word cracker?
The what?
This was crazy. So Hasan has a big problem because he likes to be against certain groups of people, and obviously Twitch finally pushed back on this at least a little bit. I think they like 1 day banned him, or was it 3 day ban? So obviously Hasan needs to go to a black person that he thinks he can control, because for Hasan, having people that are in his control is incredibly important, and then having minorities that are in his control is even more important because he can use those minorities to legitimize his insane opinions. So one of the people that he's trying to exert control over here is Myth in this clip. Myth is another streamer, black guy. Maybe I can get Myth to give me the cracker pass, basically.
What do you think about the word cracker?
The what?
The word cracker.
What do I think about the word cracker?
2 of my mods got banned for saying cracker yesterday in a sequence of like 3 minutes.
Also, it's funny too how he just says, remember the Hasan thing? What was H? What did H stand for? The Hasan system. It's the same system that Vosh uses, but it's like you always misrepresent the actual events themselves, right? It's not the fact that somebody was saying cracker as a racial slur towards a white person. They just said cracker and that got banned. It's always done in the most bad faith way. You always misrepresent the original thing. It's so important. Oh, the H is for hide. Never watch the actual material. True, yeah.
Like 3 minutes.
I don't use it personally.
Oh.
I'd rather describe people with things that aren't just broad stroke derogatory terms based off the color of their skin.
Okay. What do you think about the word?
This is such a dog clip. 23 seconds. I think Hasan tries to argue with him a bit after this, but it's a 23-second clip, so I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm making that up. Is Austin leveling up his political takes? Oh my God. Hasan actually brought Mike on stream? Or is Hasan just watching this?
On a lot of factors, she doesn't deserve to win in the eyes of this community. And so a lot of people there isn't a lot of copium in this chat. A lot of people think she's going to lose, and people want her. Like, I don't even know if they want her to lose, but they want to feel vindicated by that fact. Right?
I 100% agree with you that we are more likely to want her to lose.
I'm not saying that they're wrong for that. I'm not saying anybody's wrong for that. However, what I'm saying is there is no, like, even when I present like things that are fact, that in the data, call it copium, hopium, whatever you want, it's shoved away in this community because people refuse to accept the fact that she could possibly still win.
True. Okay. Oh, wait. Longer clip.
Hey, how you doing? Fuck you over here. Let's get into fucking street fights. Hey. Myth, what do you think about the word cracker?
The what?
The word cracker.
What do I think about the word cracker?
2 of my mods got banned for saying cracker yesterday in a sequence of like 3 minutes.
I don't use it personally.
Oh.
I'd rather describe people with things that aren't just...
Oh, also, anytime I see this for TDS does it as well. Hasan is obsessed with me. He proceeds to hate watch Hasan videos. You're perma-banned from my community if you ever even make a joke about this anymore. I'm not going to allow people to control narratives by just saying every single time somebody watches you or criticizes you, you're obsessed. Go watch somebody else. Every time I see even a joke about it, you're fucking perma-banned. Okay? The biggest thing that I've learned from this last election cycle and watching how conservatives manipulate the media landscape is I will never allow somebody to type such a thoughtless 55 IQ comment to try to get me from criticizing the insane Nazi tanky fucking lunatic that they happen to support. So no, get the fuck out of here. I will watch one of the largest content creators in the world who does politics trying to convince his black friend to co-sign his anti-white racial slurs. I will watch this. Fuck you, eat shit, die in a video game.
Broad stroke derogatory.
With no saves.
Terms based off the color of their skin.
Okay. Do you think that it's crackers exclusively about someone being white, or is it also someone behaving like a particular way?
That's such a crazy fucking statement. I don't even remember how fucking retarded. Oh my God. That's a justification for the N-word, by the way. This is the whole thing that the Chris Rock skit was built off of, by the way.
Just broad stroke derogatory terms based off the color of their skin.
Okay. Do you think that it's crackers exclusively about someone being white, or is it also someone behaving like a particular way?
I think it's usually referred to behavior alongside being white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it's ban-worthy?
Do I think it's ban-worthy?
Yeah.
I think it can be.
Really?
Definitely.
Okay, well, I guess GG's, you're hanging out with a banned streamer right now.
Oh, really?
I called a Redditor comment a cracker bitch. Then again, I'm white, though.
Wait. What did he just say? I thought he was a proud Muslim. The racial shape-shifting continues.
Yeah. Like ban-worthy for someone in chat or for a streamer?
For a streamer. For a streamer?
Streamers got banned. I think it rides a line.
What about male?
I think if you
what about a male?
I like how Hasan can't get him. So he tries, okay, what if I just call them the N-word based on their behavior, but not on their skin, or I mean, sorry, the C-word, based on behavior, not on their skin color. And Mitt's like, nah, not really. And he's like, what if I'm a black person, or I'm sorry, a white person? Then it's okay, right? Okay, what about not the N-word, but what about like just a monkey? Or I'm sorry, not the C-word. What if I just call them mayo, right? He's just trying to walk it down the line. Like what can I please God, I need to get my black friend to co-sign this. Please God, please God. There's gotta be something I can get him to agree to.
I think it rides a line.
What about male?
I think if you call
what about a male boy?
Specifically, that's another streamer is bad.
Yeah. Mayo, like saying what
a male boy?
That's just like a white person, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's like Kekona?
Saltine Sally.
Saltine Sally.
White trash.
Myth avoiding Ellis of hate, Omega Law. No, that kid, I think this I don't think he would hold back. I think this is on. I knew you were going to say this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, because I think you're, you know, you're very accommodating.
It's much, man. God, this city is in fucking suffering. Meep.
Are you?
Meep. Shut the fuck up. The window's still open.
Oh my God, dude. Awesome. The fuck was that?
You moved to Los Angeles. This is what you get.
Someone said Vanilla Gorilla.
Vanilla Gorilla.
You did the impression so much that he just became Trump.
What do you think about Karen?
Karen? I think Karen's a good descriptor of a specific person.
Do you think there's a difference between Cracker and Karen?
I do think that there's a difference between Cracker and Karen.
What do you think?
Why do you think Hasan is so obsessed about getting validation from other streamers when so many of them already agree with him? He needs to get the validation because he needs access to their fan bases and audience, and he needs the validity to his political opinions. He can say, like, look, I have the correct and predominant, I've got the correct and dominant political opinion. Look at all these other big streamers and their fan bases that agree with me. It gives them access to their fan bases and the ability to indoctrinate them.
The differences?
I think the main difference between Cracker and Karen is more in line used to describe behavior.
So you're saying it's okay if we're using racial epithets towards women, but not when it's not when it's all white people got it.
Wait, what's up?
So it's okay if it's a racial epithet directed towards white women?
No, I didn't say that. I said the opposite of that.
I can't believe you said that. Oh, now I feel like you said that.
I said the opposite.
I was in the car when you said that.
Yeah.
I was in the car when
you think it's calculated or just driven by his innate insecurity? No, I think this is all calculated. I do think so now. No, the more that I watch it, I think it's like very, very, very intentional how all of this works.
Said that. Oh, now I feel like you said that.
I said the opposite.
I was in the car when you said that.
Yeah.
I was in the car when they said he hates white women.
Yeah, that's fucked up, dude. I wouldn't go that far.
It's a marshmallow.
I don't even know if Myth knows he's being streamed at this point. I'm not actually sure. I don't know if he does or not. I don't know if he made a statement about it or not.
What's a male Karen?
Like a
Cracker.
Oh, that's a crazy difference.
That's a big jump. I don't know.
Questions where I have to dictate other people's like punishment for saying certain things or whatever. I don't know where I find myself on a lot of those things.
There should.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess Myth did know at least, but yeah.
It chased
House's craziest antics. I think I disagree. I feel like if he was able to be calculated to this degree, he'd be way better at it. What are you talking about? Hasan has owned the entirety of the Twitch political sphere and all of the peripheral streamers for years. I don't think Hasan could be any better at it. This is the original clip of Hasan saying it.
Who asked? Who said this? Did I say, oh my God, saltine cracker? Like people are just bitter because it's saltine cracker. That's not what I said. You dumb cracker bitch. Okay? You.
Jesus Christ.
What is happening? His son locking. So he doesn't play like game, he should look like a gamer. Jesus. Just tell him go. That's what I said. What? Hey! This is my take. So it was a good take. Look, I said this take 2% of votes. So technically I can hijack it.
He's also single-handedly destroying his connections and fighting with Congress people, being way too over the top instead of just being slightly more measured. I mean, I didn't say he was the best person at it, but like he's probably having an emotional response right now because Hasan's probably never ever used to getting serious pushback or being held accountable for any of his actions ever. So it's probably like a first for him having to actually deal with that, right? That doesn't mean that everything else was just an accident or like intuition based and he didn't think about it. He's just like having issues dealing with it now because one, I'm literally like his fucking shadow nemesis. That like the worst thing in the world could be anybody publicly agreeing with me and disagreeing with Hasan. That's like the worst possible thing. If anybody agrees with me publicly, they have to be either a racist, a Nazi, you know, some type of like anti-Arab, like you have to be insane. That's why he has to color everybody that talks with me or agrees with me as some insane person. So if like congressmen or advertisers, anybody else starts, it's like it's a nuclear meltdown trigger for him. I've been a vegan for 7 years, but I cannot afford to buy expensive vegan food if my posts are ineligible for X ad revenue. This is an attack on my lifestyle on animals. Puerto Ricans are not Americans. At community notes. I will not be signed. This is a troll post, right? I don't know who Poppy is. Proud Jill Stein voter. That's a troll account. Okay. He's so much like Trump. He's so used to dismissing criticism, relying on his fans to attack and deflect that he thinks he's always a victim. Yeah, it's not really that Hasan is like Trump. It's just that the entire online and real world political sphere has begun operating like this after Trump. It took me a while to notice. It's one of the reasons why, like with X, the way that I engage with Twitter now, and I see everybody does this. The goal, when you're engaging in free speech, okay, when you're engaging in online politics, the goal is to just take a megaphone and scream, 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 scream as much as possible. That's it. You don't listen to anybody. You don't have real discourse or dialogue. You don't engage in real debate or argumentation. You don't even have to support what you're saying. You just scream, scream, scream your talking points, and that's it. And then you've got like clever little schemes that you use in order to avoid being held accountable for anything or to avoid responding to any criticism. That's just how the political world, that's what it's turned into. Oh, that's the Poppy from YouTube? I didn't know that.
Like, why is this even a discussion?
Oh, yeah, this is the stream that when Nick said something that Hasan got mad
There's
for.
only one possible reaction. Like, why is this even a discussion?
Have you considered to get in on the X grift of posting inflammatory tweets to get ad revenue money? I can't anymore because Elon personally demonetized my account, so nope.
Did it? Wait, is that how it works? If you watch like a politics TikTok, you get recommended Hasan right after? Is that how it works? Bro, he's all over this page. That's crazy. Click it. Dude, Hasan be saying some wild stuff, man. So I don't know if we can. Yeah. By the way, chat, you see this QR code next to me?
Hasan got real mad at him for that one. Okay, fair criticism, especially considering it's Hasan, but if it's an edgy joke, it's okay, right? I think you said that verbatim about the N-bomb in a previous stream. I will give the same take that I've probably given for like 8 years for when it comes to racial slurs and edgy jokes or whatever. Personally, you probably shouldn't really use slurs in public streams or whatever because people can take it in different ways and do crazy stuff. But I don't really care much about slurs or any of that shit. What I care about is people being racist, okay? I don't care if someone wants to say cracker or whatever, that's fine. But he's not just saying cracker. He's calling a white person a cracker because at that period, he was very big on like being racist towards white people and saying that that was based and cool and okay. Because he genuinely was trying to deploy racism with his audience against white people. Like, yeah. Bit off topic, but what's up with Constantine fighting with you over the Kamala stuff? Is he suddenly gunning for the centrist rhetoric take? Oh, he's hated me ever since my firefighter take, and then he became unhinged and deranged. But that's okay. It's all Gucci. We all do a little bit of unhingedness here.
This is great.
So this was the game back in '99. I know. Am I getting really pumped hard on the comments?
No. People are like super excited.
All right, because if you haven't,
this is.
Wait, what did he say? What?
This is great.
So this was the game back in '99. I know. Am I getting really pumped hard on the comments?
No. People are like super excited.
All right, because if you haven't,
this is.
Am I getting punked hard in the comments? Why is this a clip? It's a meme. It's the gameplay. He doing a skip. Oh, it's just watching him do the. It's a fake clip.
This is great.
Oh. Oh, because it's a. Okay, never mind. Oh, okay.
Am I getting really pumped hard on the comments?
No. People are like super excited.
All right, because if you haven't.
This is great.
So this was.
I'm asking seriously, did Destiny actually write an N-word manifesto? I understand that it's easy to take things that other streamers say, okay, verbatim, without actually fact-checking anything. But isn't it weird, if you think that I've written an N-word manifesto, isn't it weird that Hasan has said 50 million times that I wrote an N-word manifesto, but nobody ever links it? Like, doesn't that make you think for 2 seconds, like, well, wait a second, maybe this isn't real, right? No, I've never written a manifesto on saying the N-word. What I wrote a manifesto on was people misrepresenting my view on private public language. That's what I wrote a post on, because everybody's lying about what was said, and everybody was lying about everybody's positions on it. So I just wrote a huge Reddit post that was going through like, hey, here's a bunch of people that tried to ambush me on some shit. Here's a bunch of people that were saying a bunch of crazy shit. Like, none of it is true. Somebody can link it. I don't know if anybody has, it's still on my fucking Reddit account. I think you can still find the post. Hold on. Clarifying some previous events is the name of the post. And then here it is. All it does is it goes over, there have been a lot of big drama events that have been transpired lately, and I've noticed a lot of people attempting to gaslight me or my audience/fans, etc., about what events actually transpired. This post is here to serve one purpose and one purpose only, and that's just to document history. I don't expect to, quote, set the record straight, end quote, because the people who don't believe me and are attempting to revise history are never going to read anything like this anyway, so here we go. This just has to do with a bunch of losers that tried to ambush me on a podcast, Hasan included, who got dumpstered on this podcast when they tried to, and it has to do with how Hasan was telling different people different things about what his view on private language was, because he supported podcasts where those people use the hard R N-word publicly, like Cumtown and stuff, and Hasan would say things about private language to some people, and then he would say things differently to other people. But this is the this is what this post is. This is not a manifesto on why you should be able to say the N-word. It's just about everybody fucking lying about what was said, and it's about people lying about what their motivations were for attacking me, and it's about people lying about how they can't reconcile their past and current comments. That's it. But that's what this is. There is no N-word manifesto. If you think that I've written a manifesto on the N-word, then ask somebody to link it. Oh, where is your N-word manifesto? Right. That's it. Read the Hasan part. The problem is I don't even know if these links work anymore, because it's I didn't know to back anything up at the time. Hasan, I could write pages on the stupid shit Hasan says, but let's focus on a couple of things that are just hilariously wrong. Ugh. The reason why Destiny's targeting Cole is because he's the weak link there. He's emotional on the subject. Hasan claims that Cole only loses because the internet is full of nihilistic edgelords. Destiny's attacking him more than Quarantine, and even when he does, he attacks his education. This is literally Destiny defending his use of the N-word. I think that I linked clips earlier, but
the reason why Destiny's fucking targeting Cole is because he's the weak link.
By the way, this is what Hasan sounds like in real life without his 42 decibel, 80 hertz microphone boost, in case you were curious what Hasan's voice actually sounds like.
The reason why Destiny's fucking targeting Cole is because he's the weak link there, and he's already emotional about the subject, and if you're emotional about a subject, which is understandable for him to be emotional on, you've already lost the battle in the eyes of like all of these fucking out-of-touch, nihilistic, internet debate edgelords, okay? That's the reality. It is what it is. So that's why Mindwave's trying to move away and like bring on relevant in the conversation. And that's why Destiny's attacking him way more than attacking Quarantine. But even when he does attack Quarantine, he attacks him from the point of view of like, oh, you don't have anything to teach me. Like ultimately, what we shouldn't forget is this is literally Destiny
my opinion,
defending his use of the N-word. Okay.
Things like this, we're essentially talking about edgy jokes.
So just to be clear, when I was invited to this podcast, I didn't even know this was going to be a topic. Quarantine and James Cole Cash wanted to ambush me on this podcast, along with Hasan, all planned by Mindwaves. All three of them came to this show to ambush me on this. And James Cole Cash ends up getting his back blown the fuck out so hard by my throbbing big white Cuban cock that he ends up making death threats against me on this podcast, which is one of the reasons why I started attacking him. Like I said, all of this is documented up here, but I don't know how many of these links are still live. Like, this was on Cole's Twitter. Fuck, I don't know how many of these exist. I quote here, like, Cole tweeted out, my goal is to expose that Destiny's a racist and horrible person, and he wanted at Andre demise to use his intellect to expose as well. These guys like had plotted this basically to come and like ambush me. And then when the topic comes up, Quarantine is even smiling and he's saying shit. Fuck, my noise is all deleted. God, I wish I had backups with these. He's saying things. He's like, that's the only reason I came. That's the only one I came for. Let's fucking go. And then Mindwaves afterwards, when talking to his stream, oh, this is still up.
Cold James Cash is funny, but that was illuminating to how he lacks perspective. He just was like unable to have like a conversation. And it's like, why do you want to have like he was the one that asked for this topic.
Yep, not me.
Why did you want to have this topic if you weren't able to like engage in a conversation? You just wanted to like meme and shit on people. Like, what the fuck?
But the problem is after we started to have the conversation, and both of them were exposed for being fucking retarded, and they couldn't actually handle the conversation. Quarantine starts to get all fucking ass pained at the end of it. He's like, "Oh, is this because these guys got destroyed?"
Did you get what you were looking for out of this? Like, is this what you wanted?
I could ask you the same question. I thought y'all wanted to talk about this too.
I didn't ask to talk about this.
That's not what I heard.
The reason I'm asking you that is because like, what's actually going to get solved in this conversation? Absolute jack shit. No one's going to get convinced of nothing. No one's going to get convinced of anything because everybody is incentivized to hold their position, right? Steven over there is incentivized to not give an inch on this whatsoever. He thinks it's completely okay. Rel is incentivized, as much as I respect the brother, Rel's incentivized to agree with him, and you're incentivized to hold this conversation. So I'm asking, is everybody getting what?
Also, Irrelevant is accused of being a house Negro here. I don't know if he calls him that directly or calls him a coon or whatever the fuck else, but Irrelevant is basically painted as you're just doing this to your master destiny or whatever. He has zero autonomy. He's got zero ability to think as a black person. He's literally just my house slave. Okay, Quarantine and James Cole Cash, I'm pretty sure, or Cole James Cash, I'm pretty sure both of them label him that for this entire conversation.
They want it.
But yeah, Quarantine acts like super fucking ass pain after the combo because they realize that they fucking can't argue at all. They're fucking retarded. They're just so stupid. But they ambushed me on this. They ambushed me on this thing. People are linking the full YouTube video of me going red. I'm not re-going over this whole fucking thing. I'm just saying that's what this manifesto or whatever was about. My manifesto here was just like accounting for, here's all the crazy shit that people have said. Here's how they summarize this conversation. This is what actually happened, okay? Because people are crazy, all right? Like, these guys are lying about all of this. Yeah, Cole was like, I'm not one of those, I debate for a living. I'm not one of those internet dudes. I don't at you, I get at you. When you see me outside of here, it's the same energy. I think he got permabanned from Twitch maybe for, I think, making a death threat against me. Or it might have been for something else. All of this is so stupid. You ain't built like that to be speaking like that publicly, because your heart pumps Kool-Aid. Based. But anyway, that was that. What was the Hasan section? Oh, and this is, in reading through this is what I was going over when Hasan does the famous, like, you Weasley little liar, dude, I think is when I was going over this section. By the way, what is Hasan's stance on the private-public language divide? No one knows, not even Hasan. When Hasan is talking to Trihex, a black man, this is when he slams the meter. When Hasan is talking to Trihex, a black man, he says, ultimately, no matter what, it implies the persons themselves are a racist person. Fuck, it's not here. Okay, I suppose that Hasan believes that it's racist then no matter what. That's clear, right? However, when Hasan jumps onto the podcast and claims that me defending my stance on private versus public language amounts to belittling black people, okay, cool. So we know that his stance, at least he's consistent on this, unless, ... When Hasan is talking to me, a fellow white person, in a one-on-one context, his stance suddenly switches up to, sometimes it's contextually appropriate to use edgy humor. However, he just defended that position publicly to me, completely erasing his entire complaint that I was undoing everything I'd worked for by defending my use of the word publicly. But anyway, yeah, there's a whole YouTube video of me going over all of this. But just to say, there is no N-word manifesto where I'm defending the use of the N-word. It's just me going over the events of this and how crazy it was that everybody like misquoted the fuck out of me when it came to this whole arc, I guess. Yeah.
As you can see, majority-report.com. As you can see, we have no advertising today. It's our members that make this show possible. Without your support, we are subject to things like advertising boycotts that are promoted by the listeners of other shows who are mad about our positions, let's say on Israel and Gaza. Jordy Report.
I wonder if they've even lost advertisers from that. I don't believe anybody unless they give examples. I wonder if they actually... I wonder if they did lose advertisers. I have no idea. I don't even know who their advertisers are. I'm sure they have some, but I don't know. Noted war criminal. So he was convicted of... Oh. When you strip away the Adderall field motor mouthing and constant interruptions, all this guy has is the dumbest fucking arguments. Sure, Obama, LBJ, Nixon, Kissinger, none of them can possibly be war criminals because they didn't have trials, question mark. That's actually what you are reduced to arguing, question mark. You know who else didn't have trials? The American citizens Obama murdered. Is this why you never say Trump incited an insurrection? Oh yeah, I forgot. You don't actually believe anything you say. You are for dumb people. This is why you're not respected. Well, this and some personal stuff. Okay. Quote tweet. I wish you were half as confrontational in real life as you are on Twitter, instead of just sinking into the chair like a scared, lost little boy. Frowny face. Oh, it's incorrect with my 70% of advertisers leaving Twitch statement. I can't wait for you to get the new figure very, very soon. Okay. Oh my God, we actually got through most of our links. Representative Richie Torres warns of amplification of anti-Semitism by Twitch streamer Hasan Piker. Ooh, on the New York Post. Where is WAPO and New York Times? When are they going to pick up on it? Democratic Representative Richie Torres is sounding the alarm about an explosion of Jew hatred on the online streaming platform Twitch since October 7th. Rip. Look at him go. Look at our boy. Can you review this tweet? The Lycan tweet. This man is on the House Select Committee on Strategic Competition between the United States and the Chinese Communist Party, and he's doing surface-level research for cheap internet jobs. Not exactly the type of brain power I would want serving in such a significant role. Son Piker known for amplifying anti-Semitism and apologist not only for consumer but also my element. I don't even know what Hasan's tweet means. I assume that if Israel-Palestine is involved, it's just probably related to that, but... This is a 2-hour debate.
Made many mistakes.
I don't think I want to watch this. Ben Shapiro and Sam Harris debate.
And they range from, you know, if you've ever parented a child, you know, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
We are just 1 week away from a presidential election that will decide if the next 4 years are helmed by Vice President Kamala Harris or former President Donald Trump. I know a lot of people who are still undecided.
Is there like a topic list so I can scroll through to something interesting? I don't want to listen to all this. Have you seen this, that people are so pissed over WAPO not endorsing Kamala? Oh, yeah. Don't forget that. So one of the things that I said in the past is that the idea, because a lot of people are like, oh, Bezos is controlling the Washington Post, he's controlling comics. One of the things I've said in the past is that journalists, there is no shot that you could control from the top down what's getting posted on media websites when journalists are there, because journalists are some of the most active fucking people in the universe. And if you start like trying to control what they can post and everything like that, there's going to be fucking blowback. And it happened. They tried to do it. So I think the writers at the Washington Post, the people that there wanted to endorse Kamala Harris. And I think Bezos said, no, we're not going to do an endorsement for the paper. And now it's like fucking self-destructing as a result of that. Watch this. Sam Harris peacefully dismantles Ben Shapiro's cognitive impairment.
It's justified, frankly.
Did you read Bezos' op-ed? Nope.
And again, it extends to Trump's former allies, right? It extends to his former running mate, Mike Pence. I mean, Mike Pence has said that the American people deserve to know that Donald Trump asked me to be loyal to him, to put my loyalty to him over my loyalty to the Constitution, right? That is political plutonium, right? And we should and the Republican Party.
Do you mean the editorial board? Why wouldn't Bezos want the editorial board of Washington Post to be independent? Well, I can understand an argument for that, but the issue is I'm pretty sure they've endorsed candidates in the past. Also, ordinarily, I'd say that a paper probably shouldn't be endorsing candidates, but when one side is literally authoritarian, saying things like the media is the enemy of the people, then people who care about freedom of speech or free press probably should be endorsing the Democratic candidate as opposed to the authoritarian one. I think that probably makes sense, right?
Should recognize it as such. But what we have in the Republican Party is, as I said, a cult of personality and a loyalty test. And you have people like J.D. Vance and even Elon Musk bending the knee in this loyalty test in the most abject way, asserting that they believe the big lie that he really won or might have won the 2020 election. And this is not, it's just not normal, and it's not compatible with the norms of our democracy. And the sooner we wake up from this bad dream, the better.
So again, you talk about the peaceful transition of power, which actually did happen because
it didn't happen. There's no peaceful transfer of power when there's violence trying to disrupt or successfully disrupting the transfer of power. I don't know why people should not be allowed to say this. Please tell me Sam Harris calls him out on this.
As Donald Trump did leave office in January of 2021, and Joe Biden has been president mostly for the last 3.5 years, despite his mental ineptitude.
That was not.
Over the
you cannot call January 6th a peaceful transfer of power.
Thank you.
Well, that's not when the when the transfer of power happens. People don't leave office on January 6th.
That's the transfer of power is not simply the leaving of office. Oh, God. Do you think that Ben Shapiro self-harms every night? I wonder if you pull his sleeves up. Are there cut marks all over his fucking arm where he's like, I can't believe I graduated top of my class at Harvard just to carry the most dog shit, bad faith arguments. That the arguments that I'm giving are indistinguishable from some retarded high school fucking dropout in Arkansas when I'm on here publicly arguing for these things, right? There's no difference between you and a 1.9 GED having public school dropout dipshit. When you're saying things like this, well, the peaceful transfer of power actually doesn't happen on January 6th. It happens on January 20th. Like, what a stupid fucking comment to make. Holy shit.
People leave
office
on January 20th.
If Mike Pence had obeyed him, we would have had a genuine constitutional crisis.
I agree with you, which is, I think, that why Mike Pence did the right thing. And
by counteracting Donald Trump, the president. So he did the right thing to ignore the order to not certify the election. How can you even...
I agree with you, which is, I think, that why Mike Pence did the right thing. And I think that what Donald Trump, the argument that Donald Trump was making between November and January was morally and legally specious.
Specious. Okay.
But with that said, there was a peaceful transition of power.
After the violence, that's not...
But right now on the campaign trail, when Donald Trump is asked, and he was on Joe Rogan a few days ago, about the 2020 election, he still claims that he won the election. What do you make of that?
I mean, I obviously disagree with him. I don't think that he won the 2020 election.
I disagree with him. I disagree. When he says that the election was mass rigged and fraudulent, how is this not like...
The 2020 election, he still claims that he won the election. What do you make of that?
I mean, I obviously disagree with him. I don't think that he won the 2020 election. Also, this is part and parcel. I wish it weren't. But it is part and parcel of a reactionary divide that has plagued our politics since before Donald Trump, frankly. mean, when Donald Trump won the election in 2016, we then spent 3.5 years of people claiming that Donald Trump was a Russian plant and had been.
It's not the same thing. Oh God, Sam Harris, please call him out on this. Sam, please, Sam, please call him out on this. Please don't let him do these both sides bullshit.
Bootstrapped into office by the Russians manipulating Facebook. This sort of election denialism is not.
But the thing is, that did happen though, right? Now, did Trump win solely because of Russian interference or whatever? Maybe not, but Russians were active on Facebook. We know that. Are you denying that fact? Are you saying that didn't happen?
Not. It is ugly. It is bad on both sides. It is. I won't even say that. What
doesn't
Democrats
on both sides.
Thank
that's
you.
not true. If Donald Trump wins this election, I promise you.
Hillary, I promise you what? That we're gonna have a fucking riot at the Capitol building that's being cheerled by the leadership of the Democratic Party?
We'll see election denialism on the left. That is incredibly similar to what you've seen from Donald Trump.
I wanted to ask you that. And this is a question for you. I'm not going to filibuster, Ben. I just want to ask you. If on election day we have a clear result, right? So there's a landslide in the swing states and someone really wins, right? If I told you that the losing candidate denied the results of the election and simply would not accept a loss and even appealed to their most fanatical supporters to come into the streets and just obviously provoked violence on the part of the mob, right? And said, and when asked, what about the Constitution? This candidate said, to hell with the Constitution. We don't have a country anymore. Which candidate am I conceivably talking about?
Well, I mean, I think that, given Trump's rhetoric in 2020, obviously what you're talking about is Donald Trump. I don't think that's how it'd be phrased by Kamala Harris. I think that the way that it'd be phrased by Kamala Harris is more subtle.
Kamala Harris, if she loses in a landslide, you think there's a chance that she will not accept the results of the election?
Forget about a landslide.
She will call people into the streets?
How about a close election?
No, do the landslide one too. The landslide one is important first because it shows that, even in a landslide, Donald Trump might still say it, right?
How about a close election? Forget about a landslide because a landslide is.
But the landslide just makes it perfectly clear. I just want.
Thank you. Yes, correct.
But why the necessity for that sort of clarity in an election?
It's necessary to show how fucking insane your side is. Even in a landslide, they would still deny it, Ben. That's the point. What is he not? Did he not graduate from Harvard? Is it a fake fucking diploma? What do they teach there? That's obviously the point of why he's asking in the most extreme obvious example where it'd be so wrong, you would still act wrong and you would support it.
50-50. Why not actually pick a plausible scenario? The most plausible scenario is that she loses in a very tight election. And then she says there's been voter suppression. And then she
It's all too plausible. Ben, it's all too plausible because currently the chance that there will be a landslide in the swing states is about 40%, even though we're at 50-50 between the two candidates. According to Nate Silver, there's a 40% chance that one of them runs the table in the swing states, right? So it's
For sure. That doesn't matter, by the way, Sam. It doesn't matter if when they say win in a landslide, I'm sorry, hold on, wait. Just so you guys understand this, the landslide win is not the Electoral College. The landslide win needs to be the popular vote in the swing states. Because if Kamala Harris wins in a landslide in the Electoral College, but the difference in every single state is 10 to 20,000 votes, that would be enough for all of the Trumples to go fucking crazy. Okay? The landslide win can't be the electoral vote number. It has to be the vote margins in the swing states that Kamala would win in, right? That's what actually matters.
That would be an Electoral College landslide. We're not talking about a popular vote landslide in any case.
Right.
But that's not true. We are. Oh, they're not getting this. I haven't heard a lot of people comment on this, but I just realized when people are talking about a landslide win, they're thinking just in the Electoral College. But that's not how the riggers, like Donald Trump and his sycophants are looking at it. They're thinking of how close the actual elections are in those swing states.
About a clear result, right? Where no allegations of fraud are plausible.
Okay, so the most obvious sort of rhetoric that would be used along those lines would be Trump's. And then the rhetoric that would be used on the other side of Trump wins would be that Trump has corrupted the system. The system has been so corrupted that people weren't able to vote properly in places like Georgia, which has been the claim that there was Jim Crow 2.0 in Georgia for years. There would be claims that Donald Trump was paid off by billionaires.
Hold on. Not all of these are the same, though. You can complain about things like gerrymandering, or complain about things like restrictive laws that make it harder to vote, because those are real things. Now, you can argue whether they have an impact or not, but that is of a different kind. That is substantively different than people saying that there is a top-down collusive effort by the entire Democratic establishment functioning throughout the federal government, all of its agencies, and the state governments and all their agencies, or at least the ones in the swing states, to concoct false election results. These are completely different claims.
There was foreign interference in the election. There would be all of these claims, and they would float around.
Oh my God.
This is my original claim, Sam, is that Donald Trump is very obvious in his excesses. Democrats and the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris are much more subtle in their excesses, but those excesses are no less dangerous for being more subtle. In fact, in some ways, I think they are more dangerous for being more subtle.
Ben, you can't use a phrase like no less dangerous. Hillary Clinton conceded in 24 hours. That is less dangerous than this continuous provocation.
Sam, I just disagree with you. I think
you're wrong, though. You can disagree. That's fine, but you're just wrong. You're wrong. You can't breathe underwater. If you disagree with that, you're wrong. You can't fly. If you disagree with that, you're wrong. You're just wrong.
The attempt by members of the media, by Hillary Clinton, who herself said that Donald Trump was illegitimately elected based on Russian interference in the 2016 election, was highly damaging.
How long did she say that for? How long did she say that for? Did she still say that?
I mean, she will, yes, actually, she will still claim openly that there was manipulation that took place during that is true, that there was manipulation during the 2016 election.
She says the same thing to say is that there is continuous foreign intervention.
Sam should ask him point blank, hold on, do you think that Russia does try to interfere in our politics? Do you think that that ever happens? Or are you denying all of that? Also, just as a heads up, when Ben Shapiro knew that Trump was out of office, so Ben Shapiro didn't have to be a slave to Donald Trump. And when Ben Shapiro thought that he could give his own takes on what was happening politically without having to worry about the backlash from MAGA supporters, this is what Ben Shapiro's take was on January 7th, 24 hours after January 6th.
Perspective of the rioters, if you're a criminal, and you should go to jail. You should go to jail. And this was an attempted act of insurrection. I mean, technically speaking, that's what it was, considering that the reason that this happened is because Congress was simply there doing their constitutional duty and tabulating the state-certified electoral count. Okay, that's all they were doing. They do not have the power. Congress does not have the power, as I've been saying all week long. Congress does not, and never did, have the power to simply overturn state electoral college certified results. That is not a legal thing for them to do. Vice President.
That's not a legal thing for them to do. Notice how he doesn't mince words here of that's a specious legal argument, because he's correct. That's not what the ECA was designed for. The debating over the votes, the electoral votes in the Congress has to do with whether or not the votes were improperly submitted or certified or something like that, right? That came from the states. The electors voting, right? And the certificate of ascertainment. It wasn't there to debate voter fraud.
And Pence did not have that power. Congress did not have that power. It was not going to happen anyway, even if you thought they had that power, because Democrats control the House of Representatives. So all of that was tomfoolery. It was nonsense. And
technically, Democrats didn't control the House of Representatives, but that's a different thing. But that's okay. He doesn't need to know that.
Folks who believe.
Why did he change his mind? Because Donald Trump and Hasan Piker and all these people operate the same way. If you're not with them, they will annihilate your career. That's the issue. If you don't stand with them, then they will call you out in the media and they will destroy you. This is a pattern of behavior that Donald Trump engages in time and time and time and time and time again. That's why in the Dominion v. Fox News lawsuit, that's why the execs behind the scenes were talking about how brutal it was that Donald Trump was calling them out. They were losing audience to OAN. They were losing audience to Newsmax. Donald Trump will destroy you if you don't stand with him. That's why you've got people like Matt Walsh, who will write these huge articles about how, let me make this perfectly clear, I will never vote for Donald Trump. But once Donald Trump wins and he starts targeting people that disagree with him, now you have to fall in line. This is why Glenn Beck initially was opposed to Trump, and now he's a massive Trump dick suck. This is why, this is just like the pattern. This is just what happens. This is everybody. You have to do this.
You thought they had that power because Democrats control the House of Representatives. So all of that was tomfoolery. It was nonsense. And folks who believed that it wasn't nonsense and decided that they were going to commit an evil act. It is an evil act to invade the seat of government and do violence to people. It turns out we now have over a dozen police officers who are injured. There are 4 people who are dead. 1 person was shot. 3 people died in medical emergencies yesterday. That's as bad an event as I've ever seen in American public life. Frankly, I think that in many ways, it's the worst thing to happen to the United States of America since 9/11. It was cataclysmically awful. Cataclysmically awful. Obviously, a very different sort of thing, considering that 9/11 was a foreign terror attack ending with mass carnage and mass death. But the grave.
Look at how wise he is when talking about this. And this is one of the reasons why January 6th is worse than 9/11. And people hear that like, oh, look how many people died. 9/11 was an attack from the outside. January 6th was spurred from within, from a president, from a sitting president. It's so much war. It's so much more of 9/11 was not an attack on our democracy. It was an attack on our infrastructure. It was an attack from a foreign enemy. It was an attack on our stability as like a world leader, but it wasn't an internal corruption of or threat to our internal democratic processes like January 6th. It was a different thing in kind. Still bad, horrible, in a lot of ways, obviously worse than January 6th when it comes to property damage and lives lost. But in a way, January 6th represented a special type of attack on American democracy. It was spurred on by a sitting U.S. president.
Damage done to the sense of democracy, to the propriety of a republic, and to the functional workings of our government yesterday. It was pretty awful. It was pretty awful. Now, the American system is robust and bounced back within hours, thank God. But that does not diminish the importance of what happened yesterday, which, again, was bad on every single level. So let's start from the very beginning, because that's a very good place to start, as Julie Andrews might say. So yesterday, there was a lot of lead up. There's a lot of lead up to yesterday. Remember, the big news story in the morning was that the Republicans had lost the Senate. And the
What do you mean by the House wasn't controlled by the Dems on January 6th? In the ECA, or this might be in the 12th Amendment, I think it was spelled out in the ECA, the way that the president would be chosen by the House if the Senate doesn't choose or can't figure it out is that the House delegation would be the one to choose the president. House delegation just means the number of majority party states, not the number of U.S. representatives. So, for instance, let's say that there are more Republican, or let's say there are more Democrats than Republicans in the House of Representatives. But let's say that there are more states represented in the House of Representatives that are majority Republican and have more Republican representatives. Even with a minority membership of representatives, the Republicans would still have a majority ownership of the House delegation. That's the issue. Yeah. So that's why if you look at the coup memo from Eastman, that's why Eastman was saying that if it does get thrown back to the House, we can still win because the House delegation is still controlled by the Republicans, even if they had a minority of people. It might not be in this one. It might be in the 6-page. Not Pence. So it was this part of the wargaming, right? Alternatively, if Mike Pence were to determine that because multiple electors were appointed from the 7 states but not counted because of ongoing election disputes, all that is a lie, by the way, it's because they had fake elector slates, right? Neither candidate has the necessary 270 elector votes, throwing the election to the House. If the Republicans and the state delegations, not just the number of representatives, but the delegations stand firm, the vote there is 26 states for Trump, 23 for Biden, and 1 split vote, Trump would win. The House delegation is not the total number of representatives. It's just the overall representation of the states. Is there a good reason to work with the House delegation instead of the representatives, or does the system need updating? I think this is something that's spelled out. I believe it's in the Constitution itself. I'm trying to remember if this is in the Constitution or if it's just the 12th Amendment. I'd have to go and check. It's somewhere. It's constitutional. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's in the ECA. I think it's in the. It's either in one of the amendments. It's either in the 12th Amendment or it's in the in the 12th Amendment or the Constitution itself. Do you think this should be changed? I understand the reason behind it. So shit can't turn into utter chaos if there's a clear winner. No, I don't think it should. It's just dumb. This should never even be relevant to anything. This is only happening. The only reason we're even considering this is because Donald Trump was trying to fucking coup the government.
Democrats now had unified control of the government. And there had been lead up for weeks to the
okay.
Interference in our elections, right?
But that's always been
that's
the
the double
case.
standard, Sam. Now you're proposing a double standard.
No, but
when Hillary says it.
Remember, so we saw on January 7th, Ben Shapiro says that this is the worst event to happen in the United States possibly since 9/11. But now he's saying it's no big deal and Hillary Clinton did it as well. Notice the change?
It's totally subtle and fine. And when Trump says it in the most obvious, foolish way, it's totally different.
Ben,
Sam, go ahead.
You're just missing the relevant details here. Almost everyone thinks that there is continuous foreign interference in our elections. Very few people at this point think that it has been decisive and that it was decisive in 2016. I mean, the problem in 2016, it was a much bigger problem. That the internal division was real, and whatever Russia tried to do on Facebook was amplifying very real divisions.
Thank you for bringing this up, Sam. This is the one I think I actually got. Did I get Tom to admit this, or was it somebody else I was talking to on stream? Because I'll always say, what is the comparison to Fox News and Dominion and that Constantine, the traitorous Russian spy fuck that probably gets paid by Putin himself in fucking rubles, okay, in his foreign bank account that does media in the United States to sow dissent and try to destroy my country, okay? He used the same argument against me on Twitter, where he's like, what about Russiagate? But if you ever get one of these people, okay, outside of the massive cum circle jerk bukkake circles, okay, where people are using homeopathy to spread as many loads of Trump from mouth to mouth as possible, when you get these people alone and you ask them legitimately, hey, hold on, do you think that the people in the media actually believe that Russiagate was real, or do you think they were all making it up? Most of them will tell you, yeah, they probably thought it was real, right? It's not that they were intentionally making up a lie, and you could argue that that gross irresponsibility or that they didn't fact check enough or whatever. You can make all those arguments that they should have done a better job, but it wasn't an intentional fucking lie, right? You can say they shouldn't have thought it was dumb to think it, but they did think it, right? And if they don't agree with that, well, then you can just push them on one more. Be careful. Make sure that you're like protecting yourself when you do this, okay? Because evidence is kryptonite to a MAGA kid, okay? You ask them for evidence. You say, okay, hold on. Is there any evidence that they knew that they were telling a lie? Because there's none of that. There's nothing there, right? And then you have to get them to admit that, okay, fine, well, at least I believe in something without evidence. Although for MAGA, that's normal, so maybe they won't give a fuck admitting that, but...
that exist in our society, which we should worry about. But I'm not in contact with any Democrats, and I talked to a lot of them at this point, who have burned any fuel over even weeks, much less months or years, worrying that Trump's first term was totally illegitimate because the election was hacked, and I mean, what really happened? I mean, there were things that seemed decisive that one could regret, like Comey opening the email investigation 10 days before the election, and that functioning as effectively as a kind of October surprise, right? I mean, nothing came of it, but it seemed decisive in terms of her poll results in those last weeks.
Wasn't Russiagate just that the Trump campaign communicated with Russia, which was true? No. Russiagate to the conservatives has been boiled down to the most singular, hyper-specific fucking claim ever. And that hyper-specific claim is because Mueller wasn't able to come out and recommend charges to the DOJ explicitly stating that Donald Trump himself had colluded with a foreign entity like Russia in order to rig the election, it was all fake bullshit, which I don't even know if there's a criminal charge for that in particular. But because that didn't happen, they say all of it was fake. Ignoring the fact that credible indictments came from that. Ignoring the fact that we did find out that Trump's campaign did communicate with Russia to time things like leaks and to time things like documents. Despite the fact that Donald Trump did at every single stage obstruct this investigation over and over and over again. Whether it was by bullying Jeff Sessions out of his DOJ position because Sessions recused himself. Whether it was because he fired Comey for not ending the investigation immediately and then lied to the public and said he fired him because of the Hillary email thing. Whether it was from Trump trying to shut down every single special counsel, whatever the fuck he could do, right? Donald Trump at every stage, whether it was through Donald Trump promising and then delivering on pardoning people who were not answering subpoenas from Congress for this investigation. All of these things Trump did. Everything I'm saying is public knowledge. This is all out there. None of this is weird. We can go and look for the pardons. We can see that he did pardon people like Roger Stone. Roger Stone ignored subpoenas from Congress to testify about Donald Trump. He was subpoenaed. In May 2018, Stone's social media consultant, Jason Sullivan, was issued a grand subpoena. Hold on, wait. And they did it for him as well. He did it for Jan 6 as well. Fuck. Stone was convicted on this, by the way. Hold on, let me find these exact felony counts. In November of 2019, a jury convicted him on all 7 felony counts. On July 10th, days before Stone was scheduled to report to prison, Trump commuted his sentence. And then Trump pardoned Stone on December of 23rd. Roger Stone is convicted of impeding investigators in a bid to protect Trump. Mr. Stone, a longtime informal advisor to President Trump, obstructed one of Congress's Russia investigations and lied to lawmakers. He lied to and he told someone else to lie. He was obstructing the investigation. And then he got arrested for it. And then he got charged with it. And then he got convicted of it. And then Donald Trump pardoned him. So anytime some MAGA dipshit tells you, oh, no collusion, tell them to eat shit. What a fucking bunch of bullshit. If Biden did any of this shit, you would lose your fucking minds. They would lose it. They would lose it. But instead, we've got under God, I hate Pisco. I'm reminded how much I hate him every time I bring this up. Instead, we get Biden's Department of Justice, who has allowed an independent special counsel to research the the classified documents, who came out and made a damning condemnation and report of Biden for it didn't even need to happen. And then we got his own son, Hunter Biden, arrested and then charged with crimes and convicted relating to some stuff related to fucking taxes and lying on a federal form for guns because he does drugs, right? All of this happened under Biden's DOJ. Okay, and they still say that Biden controls the DOJ. They still say the Democrats of the deep state control the DOJ. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is literally acting like a fucking mob boss. He's acting like a mafia boss here, right? Oh, you're going to get charged with obstructing the investigation into my own collusion that you were involved in, by the way, because he was. Roger Stone was involved in that. I don't even think Roger Stone fucking denies it, okay? You guys will carry more water for them than they'll even carry for themselves. You'll deny conspiracies that they admit to participating in because you're useless fucking tools, right? Roger Stone will defend Trump by lying and obstructing, and then when he gets convicted for it, Donald Trump will pardon him. That's crazy. That's fucking wild. Unfucking believable. But anyways, anybody that tries to equate these two things, I don't know how you can sleep with yourself at night. It's got to be some DID schizophrenic shit where you've got multiple personalities, because I don't think the same mind could occupy the same skull with all these different conflicting thoughts in your head. It's insane.
Nothing came of it, but it seemed decisive in terms of her poll results in those last weeks. But I mean, her loss was overdetermined, and most sane Democrats recognize that. What you do not have in the Democratic Party is a cult of personality around anyone and a series of loyalty tests. I mean, again, we're so far from the actual ground truth here. I mean, the ground truth is that we know at this point that there were Republicans in Congress, right, who would have voted to impeach Trump after January 6th, but they didn't.
Because they thought you couldn't impeach somebody who left office? What a stupid argument, by the way. Like, ask a 4-year-old, hey, by the way, you can be president, but the only way you can be charged with a crime is if they impeach you. And also, they can't impeach you when you're out of office. So what would you do? I imagine the 4-year-old would go, well, you know, I think I would just probably do a lot of crimes like in my last week or two when they don't have time to fucking, when they don't have time to impeach me. Wouldn't that be base? What a stupid fucking idea, which is what Sam is about to bring out. Thank you, Sam, for knowing the fucking facts on this. Thank you. That is the only reason why Donald Trump was not convicted in the Senate, by the way, after he was impeached. Second, impeachment. Donald Trump. There are a plethora of statements of people saying that they would have impeached him. They would have convicted him in the Senate. The only reason why Donald Trump was not convicted in the Senate, the only reason why was because multiple Republicans said, well, I don't think we can convict him because he's already out of office, right? LOL. LOL. Mitch McConnell says there is no question that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day. But he voted against conviction due to his interpretation of the U.S. Constitution, because he said that I don't think that you can hold somebody accountable. I don't think that you can convict somebody after they're out of office. Okay. The people who stormed this building believed they were acting on the wishes and instructions of their president, he said. And, quote, having the belief that a foreseeable consequence of the growing crescendo of false statements, conspiracy theories, and reckless hyperbole, which the defeated president kept shouting into the largest megaphone on planet Earth, end quote. But then he says, McConnell said that the process of impeachment and conviction is a limited tool and that he believes Trump is not constitutionally eligible for conviction. So anytime some MAGA dick suck tells you, well, it's not like he was convicted in the Senate, remind them the only reason he wasn't convicted in the Senate is because they said that you can't impeach a president who's out of office. And then also remind them, remember what Donald Trump's main defense was before he went before the Supreme Court? He said, hey, you can't convict me of a crime because I wasn't impeached for it, right? He wants to have it both ways. And then Roberts went ahead and said, actually, we don't think that argument's true, but also we don't think that anything can be held against you if you were acting as president. God, what an unbelievable, it's like a circular firing squad of high velocity cum shots. It's insane. And they're hitting themselves all over the face and they love it.
Because they were afraid for their lives. They were afraid that someone in the MAGA cult would come and kill them, or members of their...
Oh, he went with a different argument there. Fuck.
Because they were afraid for their lives.
That might be partially true too, but the arguments they gave were what I just said.
They were afraid that someone in the MAGA cult would come and kill them, or members of their families, right? We know this from Mitt Romney, and we know it from Liz Cheney, too. This is not normal, and it's not happening on the Democratic side. Yep. Right? This is a descent into, if you don't like the term fascism, something very much like fascism. I mean, I would say that this is fascism punching a gaping hole in our democracy, and it is the effect of Trump's demagoguery.
So, Sam, politics. You're saying fascism is punching a gaping hole in our democracy, and this is solely due to Trump, and yet you also...
What about BLM? What about BLM and Hillary Clinton in Russiagate?
Say that you would not support Kamala Harris if she, for example, stopped the certification of the election. And so my question remains, if Trump is such a grave threat to democracy, then why aren't you treating it that way? Voting isn't enough. I don't treat Kamala Harris as that.
That's so revealing, too. Oh, you think he's a threat like I think that she's a threat? Well, then why don't you guys try to do an insurrection like we did? Why don't you guys try to do an insurrection like we did then?
Sort of threats to democracy.
Well,
I think that Kamala Harris is a threat to many of the institutions.
I'm not going to burn down the village. I'm not going to burn down the democracy in order to save it, right? So I'm not in favor of political.
But your argument is that it's ending under Trump. But your argument is that it's ending under Trump.
What a horrible dog shit argument by Ben Shapiro here. Oh my fucking God. I've never seen somebody self-gape so much.
I can well imagine that our institutions are strong enough to weather a second Trump term, right? I don't think we're going to be. It's not going to be the Third Reich. And again, I don't think he has those kinds of aspirations because he's such a small figure in the end, right? He's not a man of ideas on any level, right? So as far as I can tell, he believes almost nothing. But the crucial problem for me is that he doesn't seem to recognize that we have an interest in the maintenance of world order. Right, he's a completely transactional figure. He cares about his relationships, right? And I think he probably cares about his relationships to foreign leaders to a degree that could border on treason in certain circumstances. But I mean, it's just insane that we had a president in him who said he trusts Putin more than our own intelligence agencies, right? And then he shared top secret information with Kremlin officials in the White House because he just couldn't keep his mouth shut. I mean, he was literally just gossiping about intelligence secrets related to ISIS, and Israeli intelligence went crazy over this, right? I mean, he's not a serious figure.
Well, can I respond to that one?
Yes, then I'll jump in.
Because this one's actually kind of fascinating. So now we shifted sort of topics into foreign policy and maintenance of world order and vision of the world. And this is the part where it seems rather incredible to me to support Kamala Harris as somebody who has a vision of a functional world order. The reality is that when we talk about Donald Trump, I think that in some bizarre ways, Trump and Harris are sort of photo negatives of one another in the sense that Trump appears on the surface very unserious and he says a lot of bloviating and silly things. And then his foreign policy actually is rather serious. And Kamala Harris appears to sometimes when she's not.
His foreign policy is serious. The foreign policy where he sucks off dictators constantly and everybody fucking hated us. That foreign policy? What are you talking about?
Word salad, say serious things, and then her foreign policy is deeply unserious. So you'll have Donald Trump, and he'll say stupid things or bad things, where he will say something about ISIS to the Russians.
Or declassify top secret things in real time.
Or you could theoretically have the Biden-Harris administration staffed by people who full-on leak Israeli intelligence plans in the middle of a war to the Iranian government, such that it is printed. You may have such an intelligence crisis, in fact, that the Israeli government stops sharing intelligence with the United States specifically, because every time they do, it seems to be leaked to the front pages of the New York Times. You could have a foreign policy that is so deep.
I'm not even sure the references here. I'm sure it's happened before, but okay.
Deeply in hock to America's enemies, that in the middle of an existential war in which Israel, for example, is fighting 7 different border wars from 7 different sources, you have the Biden-Harris administration slow-walking aid, threatening a cutoff in aid for supposedly humanitarian reasons, all while Kamala Harris seems signally unable to, for example, have a sister soldier moment with pro-Hamas supporters in her own party. Right? And then I'm supposed to feel that Donald Trump is the threat to world order. And the reality is that Ukraine was invaded under Kamala Harris and...
Yeah, I'm sure it was some story that came out recently.
Joe Biden was not invaded under Donald Trump. Donald Trump... World order. And the reality is that Ukraine was invaded under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. It was not invaded under Donald Trump.
There was an active war being conducted by Russia in the Donbass. This is the biggest fucking lie that is told. Russia occupied Crimea illegally through all of Trump's term, and Russia continued to operate militarily in the Donbass through all of Trump's term, and Trump did fuck all about it. He did absolutely fucking nothing about it.
Donald Trump, here's the thing about foreign policy that's really funny. Foreign policy is widely perceived as a game of nuance and complexity, when in reality, foreign policy is not all that complex and not all that nuanced. Very often it amounts to, if you cross this line, I'll punch you in the face, or I'll support people who do. And that actually is something that Donald Trump understood quite well, which is why he was able to achieve the best record in the Middle East of any president in my lifetime, while these pseudo-sophistication...
What is the best record in the Middle East? What does that mean? He surrendered to the Taliban in Afghanistan. There was a nightmarish relationship with Kurdish people in Syria. He obfuscated the drone strikes that were going on in Yemen, and he made it so that we don't get public reporting on that anymore. There was an attack from Iran onto Saudi Arabia. There was increasing conflict in the Gaza Strip. Like, what are we talking about here?
Of the Biden-Harris administration has achieved the most massive conflagration in the Middle East in my lifetime.
Okay, well then I'll ask you a not nuanced question.
Sure.
It should be simple enough to answer. Who do you think Putin wants to win the election?
I don't know who...
Oh my God.
Putin wants to win the election. I'll be honest with you.
You have no intuitions about this?
No.
You don't know who Putin wants to win the election? The guy who constantly undermines NATO, who says that Russia should just take everything in Ukraine and Ukraine should fuck off from the war. The guy who said that he would end the war on day one by forcing Ukraine to accept whatever concessions Russia demands of it. The guy who says that we shouldn't be involved in any foreign affairs whatsoever or fight any foreign... seriously, bro?
And the reason that I have no intuitions about this is because I don't think that Donald Trump knows his own policy on Ukraine. I don't think Putin does either.
How are you defending your leader like this? Didn't he just say, at least Trump has some kind of, serious foreign policy position? And I was like, I don't even think he knows his foreign policy.
No. And the reason that I have no intuitions about this is because I don't think that Donald Trump knows his own policy on Ukraine. I don't think Putin does either. Donald Trump is wildly unpredictable.
I mean, as you know, Putin is behind much of the chaos. You could argue
Sam, who's
all
Iran
of the chaos in the Middle East.
Iran has been actively intervening in the election on the side of Kamala Harris. We know this. The intelligence community has said this. They actively hacked the Trump campaign.
Okay, I want to get deeper into foreign policy in a second, but I want to stay on the character question for a few more beats. The word that's come up in this conversation.
Now, it wouldn't surprise me if Iran was more favorable to the Democratic side than the Republican side. It wouldn't, just because of the Iranian deal and everything. That wouldn't surprise me if that was true.
A few times, fascism or Nazism, it's in the air this election on both sides. There was a Trump rally at Madison Square Garden yesterday, and you had the spectacle of MSNBC literally...
But I don't know if that's true, by the way, though. I don't know who Iran is favoring or who most of their actions been against. I don't know the answer to that. I just say it wouldn't surprise me. So that's not a concession that they do try to pull more for the left than right. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case, but I'm not sure.
Playing clips, I'm not exaggerating, from the Nazi rally that happened at Madison Square Garden in 1939, saying that...
Oh, true. Yeah, Trump did assassinate Soleimani as well, who was super beloved in all of Iran, yeah.
There was a direct line between the two things.
Well, I'm happy to start or follow Ben, whatever you want.
Yeah, Sam, go ahead.
Well, first thing to point out is that I think we're now up to 40 of the 44 of Trump's senior-most appointees, mostly cabinet members, Republicans who worked for him, who saw what he was like behind the scenes.
Remember, Ben, hold on, Ben is loading the deep state lines. It's the deep state, it's the swamp, it's the establishment. Of course they hate him because Trump is trying to shake things up. Don't worry, Ben, I got you. I can write your script for you on this.
40 of 44 don't support him, right?
Of course they don't support him. He's trying to shake up the government and get rid of all these deep swamp, deep state agents.
Talking about people like Milley and McMaster and McRaven, those are just the M's, right? John Kelly, these are generals who had to deal with... What was that?
Jim Mattis. I mean, there's a huge number of these people.
Yeah, so...
McCain probably wouldn't support him today, although he's dead, but...
We're talking about people
wasn't a cabinet member
who dealt with him, in the Situation Room, had to brief him on the fraying world order, and what they encountered in the man was total incompetence and a very disconcerting desire to have loyalty demonstrated to him rather than to the Constitution. And on John Kelly's account, he could never make him understand why the generals had to be loyal to the Constitution and not to him personally, right? And again, this takes us to the question of fascism. And this is why John Kelly has unabashedly now started calling him a fascist. He also called him, I think, the most flawed person he's ever met in his life. I think it was Milley who said he's the worst person he has met. Again, these are not be very clear, these are not partisan attacks.
I think I asked, I tried to ask Pierre this question fucking 4 times, and he wouldn't fucking answer me. Oh, this got to 1 million views in a day. Damn, good job. Print money for this dude. Oh, also, the reason why I had to lean over in this, which was fucking annoying, is because of the way these chairs were organized. This guy is blocking my view. If I sit back in my chair and I look to the left, I can't see fucking anybody. So I have to lean in front of this guy to fucking make eye contact with anybody, which is fucking annoying. But, what was this? What did I ask? It was, is there anybody else that you would accept? Can you think of a single? I think it was single. It was single. Is there a single person? I think it was towards the end. I think I tried to ask him this like 4 times.
Donald Trump is that every single person is lying, but not Trump. This is the time that he's telling the truth. This is the game that's played.
Hang on, but Destiny, hang on.
I'm just curious, one question. Is there one other person with this track record of people around him that say he's a bad guy that you would support? Can you think of a single person with even half as many people that have worked closely with him? All of his personal people before elections, people like Michael Cohen, people like, how many people in his campaign were arrested and then he pardoned immediately? People like Manafort, people like Bannon. Like any one other person, just one person. One person.
I'm going to say one thing to you, which is this, which is, notwithstanding all your blind fury you do about
it's not blind. It's very,
I would say though, what's fascinating to me is the moment I try and turn it back and say, yeah, but hang on, what about the rhetoric from your side?
So give me the rhetoric.
Hitler, the Nazis, the Madison Square Garden.
We've done this before in July.
Literally, Hillary Clinton just said this was 1939.
Wait, fuck, was this not where I pressed him? He pivots to Palin after.
And all over again. The rally. A Nazi-style rally. So he's calling Trump supporters Nazis.
Yes,
Do you think he's a new Hitler?
Hold on. A Nazi-style rally does not...
Oh, shit, it's not here. It's later on. Hold on. Also, I think I just noticed something. I don't think my mic is connected. I wonder if my device was turned off or if they fucked the recording up or something. That's why my mic sounds so bad here. The mic, the reason why it sounds the way it does is because it's being picked up by the other mics here. Maybe they took it from Dave's. They turned mics on and off? Oh, okay, maybe that's what they were doing. But why would they turn mine off when I'm speaking here? Fuck, wait, where was my questions? What did I ask? I was trying to ask him, is there a single other person that you would support with this track record of people? And then eventually he just turns and he asks Sarah Palin a question. I don't think it was here, was it?
Record of people around him that say he's a bad guy.
One thing to you, which is this, which is, notwithstanding all your trying to Madison Square Garden
rally does not mean you're the new Hitler.
What does it mean?
By the way,
that was the border bill argument. Was it about the generals? Was it later? Just one. Fuck! What was it? It might not have gotten picked up in the transcript because we were... What did Palin do in the after show? I don't know, I just left. I don't want to be in the room with these fucking people. I don't mind Piers. I know it's his business. And Mehdi and me are chill, I think. But these two? Fuck these guys. It was near the end on the closing comments. Oh, fuck. I wish I could remember what I said. Oh, maybe it was this.
You say that Trump was lying when he said that Obama was bad on immigration.
No, I'm simply saying...
I'm curious, would you say that Donald Trump and Republicans lied when they said that Obama had an open border?
There is so much...
Palin has probably said that Obama had an open border. Did they lie when they said that?
Mrs. Palin. Be respectful.
Mrs. Palin.
Mrs. Palin.
Did Obama have an open border?
Hang on. Do you think Donald Trump's going to win?
And he doesn't answer! Oh, this was what I was trying to force him to answer. Just answer one question.
When you say he ran on immigration, because Obama was already deporting a ton of people.
The single greatest deporter of people in American presidential history, pro rata, per year, was Barack Obama.
So would you say that Trump was lying when he said that the Democrats were bad on immigration?
Over 3 million in 8 years.
Yeah, so would you say that Trump was lying when he said that Obama was bad on immigration?
No, I'm simply saying...
No, I'm curious, would you say that Donald Trump and Republicans lied when they said that Obama had an open border?
There is so much...
Palin has probably said that Obama had an open border. Did they lie when they said that?
Mrs. Palin. Be respectful.
Mrs. Palin.
Mrs. Palin.
Did Obama have an open border?
Hang on. Do you think Donald Trump's going to win in a week?
I do. And I think that...
My God. Why are we talking about Obama? Because he loves to bring up Obama. I don't know. It seems like Piers cucked Palin and Smith super hard. Why even bother having them on when they almost never got to say anything because he was too busy arguing in their stead? He had to argue because neither of them could. Palin is a lost child wandering through the forest, bouncing from tree to tree, like a ball in a pinball machine, who has no idea what she's doing here. Dave Smith is far too cucked to even try to argue against anything, knowing that I will eviscerate him in real life, and he's talked a ton of shit about me because he's like the internet's like favorite intellectual, right? Because Joe Rogan says that he's such a smart guy, but he knows he's not. He knows he's smart enough to know how not smart he is, and he knows that if he says anything right here, I'm going to chop his head off for being a fucking moron. And I've got fucking Mehdi right here, who's a fucking encyclopedia of names and dates and facts when it comes to media reporting, and he would chop his head off too. So, like, yeah, obviously Dave Smith is honest to God, probably one of the smartest guys in this debate because he knows that what he needs to do is just shut the fuck up and act like a submissive, breedable little femboy who is only brought on here to plug his shitty fucking YouTube channel or whatever while he lets the big boys do all the heavy lifting here, and he watches Palin, okay, getting demolished by me and Mehdi, and then watches Piers try to step in and basically carry water for both of them.
These are serious Republicans who went to work for the man, right? But the reason why the fascism is not just an empty epithet is that fascism is a little hard to define, right? It's not a set of ideas. It's a style of politics, right? It's the politics of leader worship and the demonization of enemies within, to use Trump's phrase, right? It's all about hatred of immigrants and elites and elite institutions.
That's crazy because he had the most reasonable takes out of anyone sitting down. Yeah, because he decided to back off to the most fucking lukewarm, non-controversial, like Iraq war bad takes ever. Of course. Yeah, because he was smart enough to shut the fuck up.
It focuses on the humiliation and victimhood of a native population. And it emerges out of this relentless appeal to the grievances of the mob. And that is how Trump campaigns. He's campaigned in this mode from the very beginning.
Okay. Wait, what happened to Dan's tweet? Okay, rip. What is this? Twitch support. I have an issue where my phone number is connected to an account that I don't have access to. I want to use my phone number on my account. How can I get my phone number removed from the other account so I can use it? Hey, Jonathan, please reach out to our team using this link here. What is all this show probable spam stuff? Jesus. I heard he's from Israel. Delete this before they fire you for trying to aid a Jew. Nice. You said that you cooked Ben Shapiro here.
Hey, man, nice to meet you.
Hey, good to meet you.
You guys were talking about civil service protections and the idea of like a fourth branch of government.
Yes.
So I want to lay out a case for you and why I think that Schedule F, which is what Trump implemented towards the end of his first term, could be used to what you were saying.
There are so many crazy, stupid things that Trump did and that people don't even know about. This, if I'm to understand it correctly, I'll admit I haven't done super in-depth research, but I believe that Schedule F for what Donald Trump was trying to do here was if you were serving in the administration, I think you basically had to do like a pledge of allegiance to like the president of the United States, that you had to show that you would be like a sycophantic like adherent to whatever the president of the United States said. Can I find the exact wording for Schedule F? Was it this? Creating Schedule F in the accepted service by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the U.S. of America, including sections 3301, 3302, and blah, 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 blah. I hereby order as follows. Section 1 policy. To effectively carry out the broad array of activities assigned to the executive branch under law, the president and his appointees must rely on men and women of the federal service employed in positions of a confidential policy determining, policy making, or policy advocating character. Faithful execution of the law requires that the president have appropriate management oversight regarding the selected cadre, I think, right, of professionals. This whole thing is cadre. Is it cadre? It might be cadre. Cadre or cadre? Cadre. Okay. Further effective performance management of employees is confidential. Policy ultimately, or unfortunately, the government's current performance management is inadequate, as recognized by federal workers themselves. For instance, the 2016 Merit Principles Survey reveals that less than a quarter of federal employees believe their agency addresses poor performers effectively. Hold on. Is there a typo on my tweet? Hold on. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. This is the added part. Schedule F of the accepted service. A. Civil Service Rule 6 is amended as follows. OPM shall list positions that it accepts from the competitive service in Schedules A, B, C, D, E, and F, which schedules shall constitute parts of the rule as follows. Schedule A, Schedule B, Schedule E, Schedule F. Positions of a confidential policy determining, policy making, or policy advocating character not normally subject to change as a result of a presidential transition shall be listed in Schedule F. In appointing an individual to position in Schedule F, each agency shall follow the principle of veteran performance as far as administratively feasible. This section right here, I guess, is amended to... Right, 6.4. Except as required by statute, the civil service rules and regulations shall not apply to removals from these positions, except the director of the office president shall adopt such regulations so to implement amendments. Hold on, sorry. Guidance on swift orderly transition to agency actions. Each of the agency. For each agency, positions not accepted by. Hold on. Accepted by the competitive service by statute determining which positions are confidential. Participation in the advocacy development of formulation policy, especially so these are who it applies to. So original returning, viewing, circulating. Okay, viewing, circulating, either directly reporting to. Okay, this is what impacts. Conducting, the director shall promptly determine whether to grant any petition or not. Each agent's head shall. Prohibited personnel agency shall establish rules to prohibit the same personnel practices prohibited by Section 2302. General provisions. Period of the. Fuck. Wait. Did I skip this, or did I misread this before? Hold on. Administration claimed that the based on statutory language to exempt certain positions of a confidential policy from employment protections. Previous administrations in Congress always understood the language to apply only to a small number of positions, traditionally filled. So Trump did not remain in office. It's unknown how many federal employees the administration would have swept under Schedule F. How many would it for the possible number under the 10,000. Executive order calling Schedule F was not implemented. It wasn't implemented because I think the Biden administration rescinded it. Fuck. There's some part in here that removes protections or strips protections of people being fired for personal reasons. I don't remember what part of this. Do I want to reread this whole thing? I just read like half of it. I'm sorry. I want to find the exact language. Hold on. Oh, it might have just been this, I guess, like this language here, basically. Pursuant to my authority under Section 3302 of Title V, the United States Code, I find that conditions of good administration make necessary an exception to the competitive hiring rules and examinations for career positions in the federal service of a confidential policy determining, policy making, or policy advocating character. These conditions include the need to provide agency heads with additional flexibility to assess prospective appointees without the limitations imposed by competitive service selection procedures. Placing these positions in the accepted service will mitigate undue limitations on their selection. Basically, it was giving them the greater flexibility, I think, to fire or hire people based upon what they would perceive, I guess, as like loyalty to the president or the administration. But this is like the Section F stuff. You can also Google this if you want to read more too. I don't want to go over this whole thing right now.